Hello and welcome to the latest edition of the Retreadcast.
Yes, today we're live from Futurmotive Expo Talks in Bologna, where the focus is firmly on the industry's role in the circular economy. So David, who will you be interviewing today?
Thanks, Maria. Today we'll be interviewing Alexei Nicolini from the Brazilian retreader and software management company Budini. Now, Budini is a really interesting company because not only were Budini a pioneer in the development of pre-cure retreading in Brazil, they've also been a leader in helping retreaders to manage the processes within their plants more effectively.
Well, that sounds very interesting. So let's go over to the Nocturno room and hear that interview right now.
Today on the Retreadcast, we're here in Bologna, Italy, to do an interview with Alexei Nicolini, whose family have been at the forefront of the retreading industry in Brazil for many years. Hello, Alexei, and welcome to the Retreadcast.
Hey, David. Thank you so much for having me. It was an honor to be here and share this with you.
It's a pleasure. Well, let's start by talking about Budini's historical contribution to the Brazilian pre-cure retreading sector. Not all of our readers will be aware of Ricapagen's Budini and the company's pioneering role in the pre-cure retreading sector in Brazil. So perhaps you can give us a bit of a background to that to start with.
Well, Budini was the first pre-cure retreader in Brazil. So my father was a tax attorney and decided to retire early and purchase some businesses, one of them being a retread shop. And I think the reason Budini is at the forefront is probably because of zero experience he had at the time with tires. And coming from a completely different industry, he sought to look for something better, right? He saw that there was a need to improve, to have something more clean, just from an outsider point of view. And in doing so, he found Bandag doing research to get into the Brazilian market, and this is in the early 80s. And in 1982, then he set the deal with Bandag to become the first Bandag retreader, and it was the first pre-cure retreader in Brazil. So Budini was at the forefront, but we were the first, right? And I believe we had a very big role in the retreading because not only we were the first, we had to experience all the errors, all the mistakes, all of the adaptations that were very common to the United States, but now going into Brazil, which was the second largest market in the world. So, and thinking outside of the tire business, my father, he decided then he needed to educate fleets about cost per kilometer or cost per mile, right? We use kilometers in Brazil. In this education, he saw there was no material, so he learned how to program computers and decided to create a process for tracking tires to be able to account for cost per kilometer. So very early on, that was the stage that enabled fleets to be more educated and make comparisons of a product that cost 3 times more, which was the pre-cured rubber, than the hot caps that existed at the time, which would be equivalent today of buying a tire that's 3 times more expensive than another, which is very hard to do, even with today's market.
So we're talking about the early stages of development of the tire management process and the software that you developed for that. So can you tell me a little bit about the development of that software and what you've achieved in the Brazilian market as a result of this innovation?
So everything started in Brazil, and the need was then to educate fleets. So as my father became a better programmer, he hired more programmers as well, and we started creating systems, not just to help fleets track tires, but systems to manage our retread shop, systems to manage our factory, our retread floor, and systems to manage sales of tires and track tires. So this is all, started before DOS even existed, and then as DOS became and computers became more powerful, this technology kept on evolving. And at one point, Budini had over 100 different tire information systems, and not marketed just to Brazil, but to the entire world, with over 40 different countries. It all started with this need to educate fleets, and then that need turned into the discovery that we could make any tires last longer because of the information. in managing inventories better, in managing maintenance better, in managing all of these variables. We discovered these variables that were affecting tire wear. And in doing so, we're able to create better practices, better processes to extend the life of tires and extend the life of retreads, ultimately maximizing the life of the casing.
Okay, so let's just talk a bit about the retread plant. Perhaps you can tell me a bit about where you are with the plant at the moment, what plans you've got for developing it and so on.
So today we still have the exact same retread plant that started in 1982. It was a Bandag plant, still is. It's been Bandag the entire time. We have, over the years, been in the leading of testing information systems within our plants. Since we are a tire information systems company, we were the first to use iPads in our retread production, and I'm talking this when iPad 1 came out. So very long time. Using touch screens, using internet integration into the retread process to connect with our sales team, and so on. So today we continue to maintain and evolve our retreads. We're always looking to more of a consulting business now. We think the retread sales are becoming more technical because the competition is so fierce in Brazil, especially in São Paulo. We're the largest city in the country. So the competition in São Paulo is very fierce. So to differentiate ourselves, we have to apply all we have, which is the knowledge that we have in tire information, the knowledge we have on extending the life of tires, and then coupling that with the retread. So our plan is actually to expand our retread shop in the next couple of years.
Okay, that's interesting. So when I last came to see you in Brazil, the impression I got was that you had all sorts of ideas for new products. And so can you tell me a little bit about, are you developing any new products at the moment? Or what can we expect?
We are in constant innovation at Budini. So yes, we're always developing something new. We're always testing something. I would say most of our developments nowadays have to do with RFID. We see that as a very coming trend. It's a 30-year coming trend, but I think it's finally going to get here now. We see that the tire manufacturers have aligned themselves with a certain technology. So Budini has been integrating our existing systems to be able to be very compatible and very easy to use with the new RFID technology that's going to be in the market. Able to facilitate tracking casings from cradle to grave. And ultimately, when you have this facilitation, you can extend the life of tires and retreads because of having more information easier. So that is one thing. We're also having a lot of new web developments for our cradle to grave tire tracking system. So the same system that started in 1982 has been evolving constantly, but its latest edition just released this year. It's full web solution now, easier to implement, easier to expand. So we see that as a very important thing. And lastly, the most innovative thing that we're doing, we started a new company, a new franchise called Consul Tires. This is going to start in Brazil, and Consul Tires is to enable anybody from the tire market that has tire experience and is looking to start to make money with that experience. We see a lot of people that are out of tire factories, or out of retread factories, or they're working for somebody else, and maybe they want to start something new or make money or create a career. We're empowering them with all of the tools, the knowledge, the training to be an independent consultant and helping fleets then reduce and maximize the life of their tires.
Well, it sounds like you've got plenty on your plate to be going on with. So what are your ambitions for the company, and where do you see Budini in, let's say, 5 years' time?
Well, believe it or not, they still consider the market a virgin market. We see that the future brings, on one side, the disposable tires, and the other side, we have quality trying to break through. We have a circular economy coming forward, right, in which tires and any products needs to be extended in its entire life and then turn into something recyclable. So I see in the future Budini playing a very big role into helping retreaders and trucking fleets and fleets of any kind improving their integration into the circular economy by providing tools, techniques, information, systems, that helps to maximize the life of their tires, extending it to the maximum, and then turning into something recyclable. So we don't recycle things ourselves, but we're always in search of what is that technology out there. What is something that we can literally track that tire from birth to recycled something else, right? So I think that's going to be a big part of our future within the 5 years.
Excellent. Well, we wish you all the best with that. Very interesting interview. Thanks very much for your time, and we look forward to seeing you on the Retreadcast again at some point in the future.
Thank you so much, David. It was a pleasure being here. It's good to see you again.
Well, thank you for joining us today on the Retreadcast, live from Bologna, Italy at Futurmotive Expo Talks. We hope you enjoyed the interview with Alexei Nicolini today, and we hope you'll join us again soon for another edition of the Retreadcast. Until then, stay safe.